Hey folks, we got a really cool piece here today. This is, and let me open up my Drago bag here. This is the Ruger PCC. The PCC stands for Pistol Caliber Carbine. This is a sweet little gun. I'm gonna tell you, I've been waiting on this thing for a little while. Ruger actually did some cool stuff this year. They've come out with some really neat stuff that is both usable, but I'm gonna tell you, it's very competitively priced. These new items they're coming out with have got extras on them and you're like, wait a minute, the price can't be right. I usually have to pay extra for those things. The same is going to go for this Ruger PCC. This thing is in 9mm, of course. It is a takedown model. Takedown meaning all you do is you lock the bolt back, and this thing here is literally this easy. You grab a little notch, and we'll show this a little bit closer later on. That's it. I mean, this thing takes down to 2 feet. You put it back at about 7 o'clock, and the thing goes right back together again. So very, very cool from a portability standpoint. But the extras this thing has, it has the same features you're going to notice on the grip and the texturing on the fore end. You're going to notice it's a lot like a lot of the newer models coming out. The LCP2. What is the one they just put out, the Security 9? It's got the same type of texturing. They're really carrying over this theme to all of their firearms right now, and that's pretty cool because they all have almost like a time when you know when these guns were made, because they're going to take after each other so far. It's kind of like a place in time where you're like, all right, I know when that was made, because it has that very similar lines, or the very similar lines in the texturing on it. The cool thing about this, of course, you got a rail on top and a rail on the bottom. You do have swivel swings, sling swivels here for your sling to be attached to. That's pretty cool. Of course, it's got a good trigger, very typical to a 1022 trigger. I like the way it's charged on the right-hand side with this very nice, very definite bolt. But I can tell you what's cool is they actually have the ability to put it on the other side. And to be honest with you, to be able to maintain a nice solid grip with my right hand and to be able to charge this thing with my left hand, I'm probably going to move this over to the other side, that bolt handle. So that's going to be kind of cool to do that. I think that's kind of neat. You also can do the same thing to the mag release if you want to. The mag release is here on the left-hand side. And as you'll notice, it's actually, to me, that's a good location for me being a right-handed shooter, because I can grab my magazine and my thumb is in a perfect position to drop that mag release and get that mag out of there. So I'm going to leave that like it is. To me, that's perfect. But I like the fact that if I want to, I can drop that magazine, pull my next magazine, and if I have my charging handle right here, I'm still right there. And at the same time, I've never lost grip with my right hand, my shooting hand, the whole time. So I wouldn't want to have to drop the mag, put a mag in, grab the fore end, and then charge it. You see what I mean? It's just some wasted action right there. And before you think, well, what does that matter? This is a PCC. This is not exactly a competition style gun. Hold on a minute. It is a competition style gun. You could use this in USPSA in their new PCC class that they have. So I can see some people being able to modify this thing in order to do that. You might be thinking, well, wait a minute, the mag's not big enough. That's one of the cool things about this particular gun. We'll show you here in a minute. But this thing right here is taking an SR9 magazine in it. So yeah, that's cool. That would mean a lot of guys have to go out and buy a bunch of SR9 magazines. Not so fast. You can actually change out the internal or the inside of the mag well on this particular rifle, and you can make it to where it accepts Glock magazines. Glock magazines are a dime a dozen out there, and now Magpul's making them. A bunch of other people are making them. So now you can have a 33 round magazine in here. Now that takes you to that next level of being able to compete in PCC with this. I'm going to tell you, extremely low recoil because you have a lot of weight in this thing. The receiver is extremely heavy. There's a lot of weight to this thing, and I'll put the dimensions and the weight on the screen, but very, very heavy. I do like the way it's balanced. I do feel like it's balanced in the center. The stock feels hollow. It's that glass-filled polymer. Not a lot of weight on the back here. So cool thing is, there's not a lot of weight on the front either. You do have a fluted barrel, so that's going to minimize the weight on the front, and it's going to aid in cooling the barrel if you're shooting it a lot. That's kind of cool. Ghost ring sights, protected sights, that's all cool. What I'm going to do here in a little bit is I have a Sig Romeo that I'm going to throw in this thing. I think this rail rather is perfect for putting a Sig Romeo on, or any other kind of optic for that matter, a red dot so to speak. You do have your basic safety. It's basically a through post safety, pushing it to the other side, same one we all grew up with, to put it on and take it off safety. But yeah, man, this is a nice gun. I really like the way it looks. I honestly have not fired it a bit. I'm about to use some dirty bore cleaner to get this thing cleaned up, get some of that shipping oil, Cosmoline, whatever they used on this thing off of here. And I'll lube it up with some dirty bore. So looking forward to firing this thing. So let me clean it up and we'll get to firing it. Another cool thing about the PCC is the very fact that if you notice, you have these little black inserts right here. This is coming to me in the length that it is for, say, like a child or a woman, or, you know, look, I hate to say a short person because then all the PC people, the politically correct people out there get mad. Let's just say if you're letting a person who is better than me and not quite as height challenged and deficient as I am, who might be a more acceptable height, if a shorter person or a smaller person is shooting this, it's gonna, as you see, this is a little short for me. So I can shoot it obviously, but it's not a comfortable length of pull for me. You get somebody like me and you add those two insertions in here, so you're gonna get your length of pull out to about an inch and a half to possibly even closer to 2 inches with those inserts in here. But if, again, this is a great beginner gun with it being such low recoil. And again, let me show you, I got 5 shots in here. Let me show you this real quick. The recoil, watch my body. I've just got a firm stance here, nothing special. I'm not leaning way into the gun. And this gives you an idea. I mean, you're talking about very, very little recoil. I mean, my body barely moves, but this thing has some weight to it. It's kind of dense. So that's great. I like that. I like the fact that I'm not going to intimidate a young shooter or a new shooter by handing them this PCC. They're gonna feel a lot more comfortable whenever they shoot it because they're gonna feel like, wow, I'm shooting a 9mm and this thing barely has any recoil at all. They may have more trouble holding the darn thing up than they do taming any kind of felt recoil. So good luck with that. I think that's cool. That's a really neat feature. One more thing I wanna point out is the fact that it does have a threaded barrel on it. Look, man, shooting this thing with a suppressor, which we are going to do, has got to be a dream. Again, with so little recoil, imagine coming out here not having to wear these things right here. So very cool thing that they put that added it on there. And look, I know the fluted barrel, it's on there for a reason, to reduce weight, and it helps to cool your barrel down, but it looks pretty cool too. All right, guys, I got my steel set up over here at 25 yards. I'm gonna put my SR9 magazine in. Goes in nice and smooth, 17 rounds. I'm gonna charge this thing and see how I can do with my open sights at 25 yards and just see. I know this is almost an unfair distance here, but hey, we want to test them all, right? Open sights, easy peasy. Yeah, this is almost unfair shooting a very low recoil carbine length gun at 25 yards at a piece of steel like that. We're gonna move back another 25 yards and go to 50 and see how this thing functions. Okay, we're all set, 50 yards now. As you can see, same steel, we didn't move the steel, we just moved our camera and everything back here. You have to understand, guys, I am probably one of the most special people that you will ever meet, because it's odd that you're ever gonna find anybody, or unusual, or probably almost impossible to see if you'll ever find anybody that has eyesight as bad as mine. So if I can hit that target at 50 yards, it's gonna be more of an accomplishment for me than it will be for the gun, because I expect this Ruger PCC to do it. So let's see if we can hit it. That's why the steel's so big. Let's see here. I can barely see my front post. Shot to the right. Got you. Yeah. Any misses is gonna be operator error on my part. This is almost like taking candy from a baby. I don't know if I have the room, but I do have an empty range. I'm gonna see if I can take this thing. It looks like I can probably get another 70, possibly, I'm sorry, about another 25 to possibly 50 yards out of this. Okay guys, I'm at 95, 96 yards. I'm gonna try to show you on this viewfinder, right somewhere in there is going to be where my target is. You probably can see it better than me on your screen. I'm looking at a little 2.5 inch LED screen. So I'm going to try to hit that thing from here. I have a very good feeling this gun is going to outshoot me all day. So in the event we have any misses, you probably need to aim your hate mail at me and not Ruger. Let's see, 90 something yards here. Miss. There we go, I was shooting right. Yep. Yeah, I'm shooting right. Yep. If you slow down and shoot, and don't shoot like somebody's filming you, you could probably hit them all day long. My breathing's not right, you know, I'm sitting here filming, so I'm not making excuses. That's all on me. That's all stuff I should be able to control. But I do think it's a shot that you can make all day. No reason why that shot should ever be missed at 90-something yards. All right, friends, now comes the real magic. I'm going to swap out from the ability to use the SR9 Ruger magazine. Now I'm going to make this thing functional to be able to accept and utilize a Glock 17 magazine. So let's give this thing a whirl and see how hard it might be. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to disassemble the front piece, the fore-end, from the receiver. What you do is on that is you're going to grab your bolt, pull it back, hold the bolt release in, and it locks your bolt backwards. And of course, you have this takedown lever right here. You simply pull it this way and give it a slight twist, and your fore-end comes immediately off of the receiver. Set the barrel and fore-end aside. Go ahead and release your bolt. You can pull it backwards slightly and let it come back to a forward rest. Then you go in here, and there is a takedown screw right behind the trigger guard. It's a little tight at first, but then it comes right off. I'm going to back these things out about, say, 1/4 inch. Then you have a takedown screw right in front of your mag well. Same thing, I'm going to do about 1/4 inch. Yeah, I can feel it loose, so I know I'm good enough. Then supposedly, yep, if you'll notice, the whole trigger pack pulls right out of there. Okay, now, I'm guessing, let's see, pull our trigger pack aside. Let's look at the receiver here. From what I understand, we have to press the mag release, and this thing should come right out. Let's see. Yep, whole thing comes right out. There's your SR9. In fact, you'll look, it says SR9 across the top. For anyone that's not familiar or doesn't realize what mag component they've got in there, what it's supposed to accept. Again, this is going to be the one, where my magazine's at. This is the Ruger one, so you'll notice that's where you have your mag goes up into it. And if you'll notice, this is where your stop is, where it locks the bolt open. This lever right here is going to hit on the follower when the follower comes up, and that's going to tell your bolt to stay open. Okay, let's put that one aside. This is our Glock one. You see it says G9 right there for Glock 9mm. That will really confuse a lot of people because Glock, to my knowledge, doesn't have a G9 or a Glock 9. So it should say, I guess, Glock 17, 19, and 34 maybe. Let's see, am I putting it in right? Oh, I have to hold the mag release. You have to hold the mag release to insert it in also, not just to remove it. There you go. See, to remove it, you press the mag release, and the component pulls right out. And same thing for delivery. When you want to put it in there, press your mag release, and the component just drops straight down in there. All right. Then with that being said, you're going to take your trigger pack, drop it straight back down also. Get these screws started. Get the back one done, started in the front one. And I'm not timing myself here, but you get the idea. I mean, you see that this is extremely simple and easy. You're going to want to make sure that you don't over tighten these because these are through bolts. Oops, or don't drop your Allen wrench. And they actually are holding into the component, the actual trigger pack and the frame as well. So both of those, just a nice little tug on them to where they're tight, and simply grab your piece back, and we're back in business again. So just like that, I'm ready to go shoot Glock magazines and my Ruger PCC. Guys, I have to tell you, I know a lot of times I like a lot of guns that I review because I really like guns. I'm really a fan of this industry and the products that are put out. but I really like this Ruger PC Carbine. This thing is really, really neat. It's extremely versatile, and you know what? Maybe the uniqueness of it is what kind of has captured me, because you can only shoot so many AR-15s, striker-fired guns, 1911s, until you feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again. So maybe it's the newness of this, maybe it's the uniqueness of this, maybe it's the fact that I can swap out my magazine components to change different magazines. Maybe if it's so easy because it has that old traditional style stock. I don't know what it is, but I know that it's a lot of fun to shoot. I can see this being a great learner gun. This is the kind of gun that I feel like you can bring, as I said earlier, a first-time shooter, a new shooter, or a young child out to shoot that may otherwise be intimidated or not sure about firearms. You can put this in their hand and it's got a heavy feel to it, and show them immediately that guns are safe whenever they're handled properly. And you could get them used to this thing and really bring them to that next level fast, because once they master this thing, it's not a huge jump to the next gun up for them. So I really like this thing. I like the takedown ability of it also, the fact that you can separate this thing and throw it in a backpack. I think preppers and people that just like to have their stuff ready are really gonna like and appreciate this. I could see this thing being taken down, left in a backpack, in a truck, or next to your door or something, and grab it on the way out. You know, it doesn't take up a lot of room. Does have a little weight to it, so you're gonna have that in your ammo weight, but nevertheless, really, really cool. I like the fact that you can slap an optic on it. I have a 6-hour Romeo on it. You know, very nice functionability on this thing. It's pretty much got everything that you would really want in this type of firearm. Many times I make some kind of awkward, stupid, and just outright landish predictions, but I'm gonna tell you what, this is a pretty good sized gun, the size of it, to be built only for a 9mm. I will make a prediction here. I think that these guys are gonna be going to 45 ACP at some point, and get this, I would see this is going to be in 10mm before you know it. This is just a guess. I don't have any insider information. In fact, I hope Ruger is watching this, because I would absolutely love to see this thing manufactured in 10mm. You have people that otherwise on any other day make fun of the high point handguns all day long, but they are flocking right now to get that high point 10mm carbine. If Ruger has the foresight, which they usually do, to make this thing in 10mm, you will never find one. They will all sell out. And I'll be one of them in line trying to get one. This thing belongs in 10mm.